Oi you, it's time for another episode of Dorothy and the Dealer. Let's tune into the conversation.
So, have you seen the new Top Gun?
I have. I saw it before you saw it.
Okay.
Maverick.
I'm
I've
fucking
seen
kind of
it
spewing. I
twice.
watched it on the plane.
Why?
Uh,
It's good in the cinemas.
Yeah, I should have watched it with the sound and in the cinemas.
Yeah, it was good in the cinemas. Did you like it? What was that?
Right into the danger zone.
Highway to the Danger
Isn't
Zone.
it? Is it? Yeah.
Is it Highway to the Danger Zone?
No, isn't it Ride into the danger zone?
I don't know.
Gonna take you right into
Maybe.
the danger zone. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
What was
fucking
that
awesome song.
about?
That was just me grabbing the mic and getting serious with the song. But it's such a good track.
Did you like the movie?
I love the track, and I thought the movie was just fucking. I
I think they did it well.
I mean, it was just exactly like the first one. It's just a series of one-liners. You know, the whole thing is just a series of one-liners. But you could really
it was
see
enjoyable.
the appreciation of the actors for the fact that they were in the movie. It was like there was this energy of, you know, I'm playing this part who was played by this person. You know, it was really great. It was great to see.
I like Miles Teller, the guy who played Goose's son.
Yeah.
I saw him first in Footloose. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
He's
he
great.
was great. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's great.
yeah.
He's a good
Did you see
dancer.
that other
He's
one?
a dancer, apparently. He's
Right,
good.
but did you see that other one where he was training as a drummer in New York, in a New York school?
No.
Oh, fucking, that's an amazing movie that he was in.
Oh.
Yeah, anyway,
I don't know.
check him out. He's cool. But yeah, absolutely loved the movie. And
Whiplash?
Whiplash, yeah, fucking great
I haven't
movie.
seen that.
Yeah,
Is it good?
made me cry, man. In the end, when he got what the teacher was doing, and that was fucking awesome.
Don't
No, I'm
actually
not giving it away, but in the
say-
end, when he got what the teacher was doing, he just loved the teacher, and it just clicked, and just the process of
Are you giving things
how
away?
the fucking teacher got him there was just, it was amazing. Hey, great movie. Anyway,
Like Good Will Hunting. I
Yeah.
love Good Will Hunting.
yeah, do you?
Yeah, I do. I like that movie.
What's your favorite part out of Good Will Hunting?
I like when I love that he calls him on his shit. I love that.
Robin.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I've seen it where I don't know if you've ever seen where they do the script and then they do the actual what actually gets said in the movie.
Right.
So I've seen them done side by side in one of those bits where he calls him on his stuff, and how Robin Williams just ad-libs so much of it, but it was just really cool.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like not quite in the script, and I just like the movie. I just like the movie.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. But I think great actors will method act like that. Do you know what I mean? They will come in and they will. It's called method acting, right? Where they come in.
Method acting is where they become the
and
character.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Like as in,
Yeah,
like all
yeah,
of the time.
yeah.
Like the guy who plays Elvis now, and I can't remember his name, and he's in Elvis character even after it's been, what's his name again? Austin Butler? Austin Butler.
Right, is he?
He is even, in all his interviews, all of the stuff, he's in the,
Is he?
he's in the character.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
It gets a bit annoying, I think,
Yeah.
but with him anyway. But
And we
you
were
know,
giving out earlier about one of my favourite actors,
you like Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis. Sorry, just slipped my mind. And Daniel Day-Lewis, when he went to play in The Name of the Father, he actually went down to the local, because he's a cobbler, as I said.
You've got to get in The Name of the Father and My Left Foot and stuff in there at some point.
Yeah, of course.
All of the time.
Because they're just such amazing movies, and if you haven't seen them, please go watch them now. But anyway, in The Name of the Father, he actually went down to the local police station where he lives and said to them, look, I want you to lock me up, and got them to lock him up for like a number of days, not feed him, beat him up regularly, strip him of his clothes, hose him down, because he wanted to get into the part. So he literally spent time in a cell in a cop shop so that he could slip into the
You
role,
love
which
that
I fucking love that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Meanwhile, he's making somebody's shoes right now.
I know. He's a cobbler. Cobbler, not a cobbler.
Cobbler, yeah.
Cobbler.
What's a cobbler?
I don't know. Okay, so what were we going to talk about today?
I don't know.
What are we talking about? Oh, yes, we were going to talk about 4
Yeah.
things
Controversial.
that we teach
Yeah.
that are really natural for
Uh-huh.
our clients to understand because they've had experiences of these things.
Yeah.
But from the outside, that might seem a little bit controversial because they might challenge how people think about things.
Yeah.
So should we go into them?
Yeah,
We're going to just talk
rock
about
them.
4 of them. And
Okay.
we're going to be brief because obviously
Yeah, yeah.
we're not going to go into detail about them, but be brief. So the first thing is, what should we talk about first? Okay, everything is love. Let's talk about that one first. And that's controversial to people who haven't met us before because, or not who haven't met us before, or who haven't had any experience, particularly of relationships, and you'll flip the script, because people will often be like, they can't conceptualise that some of the stuff that they've perceived in the past as being shit can actually equate to love. And that is controversial because they just haven't seen it. Do you know what I mean? We're used to saying this equals bad, so therefore there mustn't have been any
Good
love there or no good in there.
Yeah.
And what love is a synthesis of complementary opposites, means that good and bad no longer exist. So we're not saying it was good. We're saying good and bad no longer exist. They've combined to one thing, which we call love, right? They mesh into one another so that you don't label it as love. You just you don't label it as good or bad. You just label it as love.
Yeah.
And when we say everything is love, it's like, and we can give people the actual experience of that.
Yeah.
Like the actual experience of that, where they can, doesn't matter what situation has been put in front of us.
Yeah.
We can show people, or we can help them to see themselves.
Yeah.
That no matter what's happened to them, for them, because of them, whatever, that everything is love and that they are loved.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it takes a level of emotional intelligence for a person to get to a point where they go, okay, I'm sick of running this story in my life, and I'm sick of seeing that what happened to me was only one way, it was only negative. I want to be able, because everybody has an innate knowing that outside of what is negative and has happened to them in their past, there's something greater for them to see. And so it's about being able to say to people, look, you can see it whatever way you want, and you're in charge of that. But if you can see it that way, you can see it anyway. But the thing is, people identify with what has traumatized them. Because it gives them an identity. It gives them a story. They become related to it, attached to it. It gives them an identity. They can communicate about it. They get to feel heard when they do it. So people...
So they're more attached to the story than they are to seeing the love.
Yeah, or they're more attached to the story and the fact and what they've made out of it and that how they identify to it, as opposed to going, okay, but everybody gets to a point where they're sick of the story. And everybody gets to a point where they realise, I'm not my fucking story. I'm not that.
So you're saying emotionally intelligent enough to be open to seeing it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think we've done...
And that's not me being derogatory.
No.
It's your emotions are feeding you intel. So internal self is telling you and giving you intel as in information, saying to you, you're not that. You're something greater than that.
So a good example of that, we were talking before we actually came on live here about one of the podcasts we did earlier with one of our clients. I think she was the very first one we had on, Amelia.
Right.
She was the very first one we had on,
I don't
think.
know.
Anyway, she tells the story about some of the stuff that happened to her. That was pretty big stuff.
Yeah.
And she tells the story of sitting in the circle at like counselling or a group session.
Yeah.
And she says, there's got to be more to this stuff and that what's happened to me, as opposed to me sitting in this white chair telling that story over and over again. There's got to be something more. And that's what you mean by understanding that there's more. And if you don't want to see it, that's actually
if you want it
okay.
to be negative and spend the rest of your life like that, that's fine.
Yeah, and it's okay.
That's entirely up to you.
It's just that once you actually do see it, once you're aware that there's more to you than the cycle, then there's an option for you to see it in a different way and understand that everything that's happened is love.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
yeah.
As we say all the time, our certainty is greater than anybody's doubt about that.
100%.
But like I said, it takes it takes a lot of courage to go, okay, I get that this has occurred. I get that it's happened to me, but I actually don't want. I want to see more. I want to. People always say there's something that you said in an information, or there's something you said in the podcast, or there's something you said at Mastermind of Money, or there's something you said at an event where you just said one thing, and in that moment, as much as I didn't like what you were saying, but in that moment, there was some truth in it that made me realize, holy fuck. Because society, society's just trying to help you. You know, if you go, this is bad, society go, fuck, it must be bad then. Jesus, oh, you poor thing, you know. But nobody wants to spend their lives being a victim of that or spending their lives like that. So people think, you know, I'm going against society if I stop and look and get that. No matter what happened to you, it was there to enable you. No matter what happened to you, it was there to give you the tools that you needed to be able to go and fulfill something here. You're contractually bound before you even turn up here to fulfill something here.
Okay, so the second thing, one of the other things that is a big thing that we talk about and we often encourage people about is to put themselves first.
Yeah.
So that you're number one.
Yeah.
That means the kids don't come first.
That's right.
The pets don't
That's
come
right.
first. The hubby doesn't come first. The wife doesn't come first. The job doesn't come first.
That's right.
The house doesn't, nothing. It's you that comes first. And then, so people label that as selfishness, that it's an encouragement of selfishness. And we say, yes,
Right.
100% it is.
Right.
Because you have to put yourself first. If you're not here, then how can you tend to anybody else? You cannot give from an empty well.
Yeah.
So people
But
think that...
the problem is we're bred to and indoctrinated to put others people first. And we think that we're doing the right thing when we do that.
Yeah.
When in actual fact, we're not. No, that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, because kids, like for example, our kids, they do as we do, not as we say.
Yeah.
So if you're putting everybody else first, then they're going to put everybody else first, and then who's going to take care of them?
Yeah, and they
You have
also
to
feel
teach
worth less than the people they're putting first.
Correct, and that's what happens. It's a sense of worthlessness when you're putting other people first. You don't understand that you like nobody is put on this planet to put you first.
Yeah.
It's not anybody's job to look out for you other than you.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to do it, who the fuck's going to do it, right?
And if it was someone else's job, they would have met you from the beginning.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And people think, oh yeah, but isn't that my mother's job and isn't that my parents' job? And the answer is no, it's not. No. The best thing your parents could have done for you was to put themselves first and teach you how to do the same thing. And that doesn't mean that you're evil or mean or you do nasty shit. It means that you're very conscious about the person that you are, because you look at yourself in the mirror when you wake up and you look at yourself in the mirror when you go to sleep. So being consciously aware of the person that you are and the integrity that you have and how you are affecting the world and how your energy is creating this environment, and you want to get to the end of life and know that you did a good job and you're a decent person. That's what it's about.
I think that that's one of the things that challenges some of our people the most when they first meet us, and that's simply because they've got kids. Yeah. And so they think, no, I'm here meant to be there for the kids. And then once they realise, because we do some processes to help them realise that as well, once they realise that actually they actually do have to put themselves first, and their lives and their kids' lives totally transform as a result of them understanding this concept. Because what happens is that we think, like you said before a minute ago, we think we're doing the right thing, but ultimately we're robbing them of the potential to look out for themselves as number one. So when you start focusing on yourself instead of focusing on the kids, then you've got more to give to the kids.
That's right.
And people think that it's like evil or bad or any of that stuff, but it's actually like you are a better father when you take care of your values, when you take care of your relationship, when you take... And Angie's a better mother when she's able to do the same thing for herself. And when you are depleted in yourself, you've nothing left to give the kids.
That's right.
So selfishness is not a bad thing. It's just basically saying, I'm the most important person in my life, and I'm now going to show you how to be the most important person in your own life.
That's right.
And your kids are great at that. You ask them, who's the most important person? I am, Dad.
Yeah.
Like, and you instilled that right from a young age. And I love that. I love that. Okay, the next thing, that's controversial for some people, because when they hear you say it, they're like, oh, wait, hang on a second. Is your self-worth is your net worth. And oftentimes people are like, no, just because I don't have money in the bank doesn't mean I don't have any self-worth.
Well, I'm sorry,
it
does.
And so, but I think that you might just need to clarify what that means.
I'll put it to you like this. If I come along and I give you $50,000 and you are able to manage that $50,000, and then I come along and I give you $100,000, you're going to need to summon different skills, qualities and attributes inside of yourself to manage $100,000. If I give you $1 million, you're definitely going to need to become more organized, disciplined, diligent, focused, be able to ask questions, be more intuitive in terms of, because people are going to come looking for it, try to take it off you. there are certain qualities you must summon inside of yourself to be able to manage $1 million as opposed to $100,000. When you go to $5 million, it's a completely different level of requirement of value and attributes as opposed to a $50,000 person. So your net worth summons the self-worth that is required in order to manage it. So your net worth and your self-worth are intrinsically linked.
And we're talking about net worth. We're not talking about somebody who's magically had $200,000 appear in their account because they won the lotto.
Yeah.
Because in a year's time,
It's gone.
that will be gone to the level that they're emotionally feeling that they're able to handle it. So they'll squander it to the level of their
Emotional
self-worth,
stability, yeah.
right? And their emotional stability. So as you grow your wealth, you have to grow yourself. And that's what we're talking about. As you're growing your wealth, you're growing yourself. As you grow yourself, that self-worth is able to manage and maintain that level of net worth.
Yeah.
It challenges people because then it challenges them to actually look at how they see themselves.
Yeah. And it's important to understand that you can't build your self-worth in the area of wealth without building it in every other
Correct,
area.
Of course.
Because if you don't build it in every other area, if you think that they're not intrinsically linked, you may build self-worth in the area of money, but you'll lose your value around your family and you lose your value around your relationship. So therefore, when you're building your self-worth, you're building it in every area of your life.
And, one of the things we do when we're teaching the wealth principles is we help people to build their net worth. And as they do that, they have a deeper and deeper appreciation for who they are as a result of that. And this is where their self-worth comes into play, as well as like shifting that innermost dominant thought that's holding them back as we do in relationships.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then the last one that can also be controversial, but all of our clients understand this now, and it can be a challenging one for a lot of people, is that ultimately you are responsible. You have to take responsibility. And that means taking responsibility. Actually, it was our very, very first podcast that we ever did. We did one on taking responsibility.
Did we?
Yeah, about owning everything in yourself.
Okay,
really, I remember it because I remember, we thought about it a bit before what our first podcast was going to be. And it's about really owning all of who you are. And if you can own all of who you are, you can take responsibility.
Yeah.
If you can't own all of who you are, you're always going to be blaming a person or a situation or an experience or something. And then the power to transform that is no longer in your hands.
Yeah.
So responsibility, because everything in terms of personal development is, and living an inspired life, which is what we're all about, is if you're going to do that, you can't be sitting there blaming daddy on leaving or blaming mummy on being controlling or blaming the fact that, you lost all your money in a bankruptcy or something or other, or even blaming yourself, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all about taking full and emotional responsibility and understanding that even though this stuff might have happened, my reaction to that, my perception of that created these cycles that have caused this stuff to continue to happen instead of me being able to stop and look at the lesson it was giving me.
Yeah.
I'm living that life continuously, and therefore I'm creating so much of what comes back to me.
Yeah, if we took responsibility and we behaved with the responsibility of a God, we would be less likely to trash and ruin our lives.
What does that mean?
So if we think about it, if we make our longevity of responsibility, if we go, okay, so I'm responsible for everything. Yeah, I'm responsible for everything. That means you're responsible for starvation, you're responsible for war, you're responsible for everything that's going on. If we understand the enormity and the immenseness of that responsibility and we start to behave like that, like we are responsible for those things, what that does then inside of us is it summons a greater level of quality and characteristic outside of us, a greater level of human attribute to be more humane in how we behave as people. Do you know what I mean? Because we have expanded it and gone, well, fuck, if I am responsible for that, the only thing I can do to help that situation is to be a better person now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But people have borders on their responsibility. They want to go,
they limit it. I'm responsible for this, but I'm not responsible for that.
You're responsible for all of it. You're responsible for everything.
So the way that is best to describe that is because you're responsible for how you perceive it, right?
Yeah.
And therefore you're responsible for how you show up. If you're saying, that's bad,
Yeah.
then you're perceiving it's bad based on your experience
Yeah.
because you haven't seen the opposite.
Yeah.
If you're saying that's good, you're labeling it because you haven't seen the opposite.
That's right.
So taking responsibility is understanding that your perceptions are running the show. That how you perceive things. Like it's like saying, buying the red Toyota Corolla, and that's all you see everywhere, the red Toyota Corolla, because you've brought it up. It's a forefront of your mind, and so you see it everywhere, right? It's the same thing. If you go in with the energy of, I was abandoned when I was younger, I was abandoned, you're going to literally find and create situations where you feel abandoned, or you'll meet people that are going to, you never give them a chance.
You create more scenarios
of abandonment because you're perceiving that it's going to happen. So you don't even, it doesn't become into your, like the Toyota Corolla comes into your awareness.
Yeah.
The people that abandon you come into your awareness. You literally block out the other stuff that's possible.
Yeah, it's like that concept of, but he left me and he abandoned me. No, you abandoned you because you never dealt with your abandonment issues. You know what I mean? He didn't leave you. You just never attracted a person that was going to do anything other than abandon you.
Yes, so because that's how you perceive.
The beauty is that life is actually fucking listening.
Yeah.
So once you realise that, then you just got to broadcast a different story as opposed to daddy left or mommy left or whatever that is. You got to broadcast a different story, and that's what taking full responsibility is. But when people are in the emotion of it, emotion is so black and white. I've been in places of emotion and it's just I can't fucking see it. I understand the concept is there, I get it, but fuck, I'm so emotional or I'm so shitty or resentful at the moment, I can't fucking see it.
And the way you know you're not taking responsibility is because you feel like your life will change if somebody else changes.
Yes.
Or if a situation had
if
been
that
different.
hadn't have happened, yeah.
If that hadn't have happened.
But it has happened.
So it has happened, and your responsibility lies in now how do you deal with it.
Yeah.
Do you make it the worst thing that's ever happened to you?
Yep.
And therefore live your life on that basis? Or do you stand on the shoulders of that and utilise the gifts you were given in that situation to go and live a different type of life?
Well, do you take it and live a more enormous life than the one you're living? Because when you stand on the shoulders of giants, you become enormous. So do you become more enormous, or do you fucking shrink down, and let it continue to run and ruin? Because what runs you ruins you.
Yeah.
What runs your life ruins your life.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time. If that's running your fucking life, it's ruining your fucking life.
Yeah. I love that. And they're definitely, I know people think, well, not people, but I know that, we say things, and because we've been talking about this stuff now for 20 years, we've been teaching it for 20 years, more, but together for 20 years. And it's like, it's just natural, and it's natural to our clients now. Do you know? But it's controversial because it's outside of what we are normally taught out there, and taught to see things,
Yeah, because I've seen, I remember watching a movie with Tony Collette in it, and one of the women had gone, oh yeah, so I've worked out that what happened to me was, I'm really grateful for it. It was really a miracle. I'm like, and she's looking at her going, fucking, what are you talking about? Are you fucking nuts? So it's demonized to conceptualize the fact that what has happened to you may have actually had an order to it. Mm-hmm. There may have actually been a reason, and there may be things that you're destined to do in the world that are going to make this place better. Because if you simply stop and embrace
and look at it,
who you actually are, and stop trying to be something for everybody else because society says you need to be this way based on what happened, and be yourself, and be enormous, and be a giant, and fucking go and change the world.
Yeah, I love
that's a better destiny for someone than to spend your life fucking feeling as if you're a victim of something.
I love that. I love it. Love it. Love it.
Even if you live the most extraordinary life, there is always more to learn. This is why tens of thousands of people are using MJB Seminars techniques to hack their consciousness and bridge the gap from where they are to where they actually want to be.
MJB Seminars use cutting-edge transformational processes that are science-based and backed to help people break through subconscious barriers and limiting beliefs in order to reset, reboot, and live inspired. If you'd like to know more today, Google search MJB Seminars Bridge the Gap. Click on the first link and watch the video.
Now, for simply watching the video, you will also receive a complimentary coaching session with one of our master coaches valued at over $600 to help you get traction in your life today. Remember, live life inspired.